Good afternoon. It is Friday, March 8th, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Al Jazeera reports Nigeria abduction. At least 275 pupils missing after gunmen storm school. A search and rescue team has been deployed to find the missing children, mostly aged between 8 and 15. At least 275 pupils are missing after gunmen attacked the school in northwestern Nigeria in the second mass abduction within a week in the country. Local government officials in Kaduna State confirmed the kidnappings from Kuriga School on Thursday, but didn't provide figures as we're working out how many children have been abducted. What is going on in Nigeria? As I sit here and report this story, I have children in school. So I reported a story about what's going on in Haiti earlier this week. And so, I can't imagine that whatever you want to call them, militia groups, gangs, freedom fighters, in some instances they are, whatever you want to call them, the people are outraged, the people are uprising in many different countries. And so there's so many different conflicts going on around the world, but a lot of us are unprivy to what these conflicts, we're unprivy to the root of these conflicts. And some of these conflicts are embedded in these societies, in these cultures, in these civilizations. And as I said just now, a lot of us are unprivy to the root of these problems, let alone where these problems have spiraled out of control to today. And so as you begin to watch the news, as you begin to receive information from different parts of the world and you see what's going on, there's a constant medium. For whatever reason, there are so many people that are uprising around the world, so many people that are distressed, so many people that are fed up with the people in positions of power in their country, so many people that are fed up with the governments of their country. And what you're seeing in a lot of these instances is the innocent people, the civilians that are being caught in the middle of all of these conflicts. Now, when I say caught in the middle, well, caught in the middle as it relates to harm being afflicted upon them. Now, I don't mean caught in the middle because as it relates to whatever the oppression or whatever the issue is at the root core of it, more than likely it involves everyone of a nation, everyone of a country. So I'm not separating them from the issues as a whole. But when you begin to take action, when you are a group, as I said, militia group, freedom fighting group, a gang, whatever it is that you are being labeled, whatever you consider yourself as, or whatever you are being called, when you begin to take actions against whatever regime that you feel is oppressing you, your people, the people of your country, sometimes these actions are inflicted on the wrong people. Now, I don't know what school this was. I don't know the people who are the parents or the loved ones of these children. But what I do know is that they are children nonetheless. And that's the most important part to me when I see a story of such and then I cover it. It is almost imperative that I do such because it is wrong. It is clear to see that it is wrong. Now, I don't know who the woman is in this image, But as it says, a woman cries as she calls out. And I can only imagine it's to her children. And this is the most heartbreaking point of this whole situation. And so the gangs or whoever is responsible for doing this, they have their their issue and the reasons why and this, that, and the third. The government, as it relates to how they'll deal with such situations and how they've been dealing with the people as a whole, will deal with it how they see fit, with no concern or regard for this woman that's standing right there. Because ultimately, her missing child is what trumps anything, any and everything. It trumps conflict. All conflict should stop when the topic of children come up. When the topic of children come up, it's almost as if, you know, it's the same thing with even the most trivial thing when it comes to civilization, human beings. Even if we're having a disagreement or argument as adults, it should be it should be covered. It should be hidden. Children should be shielded from this. And so even in something as trivial as that, if children should be shielded from such things, then they should be protected at all costs. So this story that I'm reporting to you was an absolute mandatory and a must that I bring this to you because it is an outrage to me. It is appalling to me. It is disgraceful. And I'm ashamed at the Nigerian government for not only allowing such a thing, but their response. The children should have been found already. And these individuals should have been brought to justice. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports aid airdrop kills 5 people in Gaza after parachute fails. As famine stalks enclave, aid workarounds criticized as a distraction from Israel's blocking of aid through land routes. You know, I'm always going to give you guys a video or something, if there is a video, to give you guys some context as to what's going on. But in this video, it should be clear that the parachutes, well, at least some of them, apparently did not open. You can hear the way that they're hitting the ground, that they're hitting the ground with a tremendous amount of force. And so what looks to appear as some of them are open, you will clearly see that some of them not only are not open, but it looks like they're almost half open maybe. And I can imagine that a lot of people were hurt in this action. Like you could just hear that. Yeah, the way they're hitting the ground is really hard. So yeah, I can only imagine that, you know, a lot of people were hurt. They said at least 5 people were killed. And so, you know, even in what is supposed to be an act of humanitarian aid, a military campaign that was dispatched to deliver humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza, and ultimately it ends up killing at least 5 people and injuring others, all because the aid that was delivered, the parachutes failed to open correctly. In other geopolitical news, I'm on a YouTube platform. I'm on somebody's channel who I frequent a lot. His name is Zach. Don't really know how to say his last name, but you guys can see it. You can go over to his channel and subscribe to his channel. Check out some of his videos. It's a lot of information, a lot of good information. But as you guys can read from the title, why is Mark Zuckerberg building a $200 million underground bunker? Now, he's not the first individual that I've heard as of recent that has invested into building such things, such as an underground bunker or underground facility to be able to escape nuclear fallout. And so, is this an indication? Because obviously, the individual Zach put this video up as to pose a question. Is this something that we all need to be paying attention to? There, like I said just a second ago, he's not the only one. So there's a list of the super wealthy and the wealthy that are purchasing underground bunkers or having underground facilities built for them. And so this poses, an important question. Does society have something to fear? Does society have something to worry about? So I'm gonna play a little bit of this video. It's about 9 minutes. It's exactly 9 minutes and 27 seconds. So I'm gonna play some of this video, and we're gonna break down, or at least come to some type of conclusion about how we feel about this.
Mark Zuckerberg has been building a bunker. Yes, an underground bunker worth $100 million. Some people say 200 million. Some people say $100 million. We don't quite know. It's all speculation about the amount. But nevertheless, the Facebook creator or promoter or whatever, engineer, architect, is building an underground bunker for the future. I don't know why. So let's try dive into this. It's intriguing, right? A bunker. Well, I mean, what's wrong with a big house with 2 stories, 4 stories, 6 stories? Why an underground bunker? Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla Chan are constructing a gigantic compound known as Cloud Ranch on his land, which is most likely to cost over $200 million. Obviously, the amount of money is a lot. So Zuckerberg is building apparently a bunker where everything is included. Security, water, electricity, food, drinks, entertainment. So what does this tell you?
As you see something like this, somebody, building underground facilities that will house many people, many of their friends, loved ones. You understand? And what does this give you the mind frame of? What does this put you in the mind frame of? These are questions that are are actually normal for the average individual to ask. Because most of us who are average individuals do not have this access to be able to build such things.
I'm sure you've seen bunkers. Sorry about that. I'm sure you've seen bunkers in movies and stuff, apocalyptic movies and big stuff like that. What do you need a bunker for? Usually, you need a bunker when something apocalyptic is happening, right? Bunker, you go underground, okay? So you could protect yourself from nuclear bomb. I mean, we've seen movies, deadly virus where everybody falls on the ground and nobody survives. You have to go underground to survive. Is Mark Zuckerberg?
And so that leads you to think about more questions. So it's not just nuclear fallout. We just came through. Um, many of us have just not only survived a pandemic, but we've also lost people who did not survive the pandemic. And so to be on the other side or the other end of something that was so devastating to so many people, something that actually stopped the way of life for all civilization on planet Earth. Think about that for a second. We just came through, we've just surpassed an event that happened and you and I in our lifetimes where the whole planet was basically shut down. The whole planet felt the severity of this situation. The whole planet experienced loss and death from a global pandemic. Global. Now that means that no corner of the earth was exempt.
We're ahead of the herd. Do they know something we don't know about? And this is not limited to Mark Zuckerberg because they say numerous billionaires, including Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Richard Branson of Virgin Atlantic, some of the richest guys, Larry Page, have all bought large chunks of land on islands, and specifically on island.
As I've said, it's not just this individual, it's many individuals, and it seems to be a trend that's going on. And so that raises the question, do we, as a society, do we have something to fear? Do we have something to be worried about? Is there an elevated amount of worry or fear that's attached to this time that we're in right now? Now, of course, there's so many things going on around the world, so many conflicts that's happening in so many different countries, so many different nations. And so it leads one back to the same question. Do we have something to fear? Do we have something to be worried about?
These are not things happening in big land, big countries. They're choosing specifically island to go build bunkers. What's the reason for that? Are billionaires prepping for an upcoming apocalypse? I mean,
That's also another question. So now, if you use your intellect, why are they building their bunkers in such high grounds? Why are they building them so high up as it relates to uh the terrain and the earth itself? Are they expecting something that would warrant them to be as high up as they're building the bunkers? So imagine building a bunker inside of a mountain, but the mountain is almost as if uh one I'm trying to think of a famous mountain that we all know. Um, but anyway, it would be equivalent to building a bunker inside of one of the highest peaks or the highest terrains that you know, and you built the bunker inside of there. But what's on the ground level, what's at sea level, this is where the catastrophic event is set to happen. So if you build your bunker in, you know, something that is virtually so high up, then you would have nothing to fear about what's happening at sea level, what's happening at ground level.
we need to ask the question. What is the tendency? Why do you want to go underground? Why do you want to go 100 meters, 500 meters underground to build a house? What for? Don't you like oxygen? I mean, we look at what's happening in the world. I mean, let's just think about it. We were in the branch of a nuclear war with Russia. What would happen if that was the case? If Russia throw some of its nuclear weapons alongside China, India, and America? I mean, the civilization will be down under, but in the meantime, some people have to protect themselves. Do you think Mark Zuckerberg, by just pleasure, will want to build a $200 million underground house? What's interesting here is that Zuckerberg is not just building a bunker; he's also launched himself into farming. So his compound will have specific areas dedicated for farming, so cattle, sheep, and organic food. So in the meantime, meanwhile, they're preaching you all that other foods,
So all type of livestock and everything will be at this bunker. So you're absolutely expecting that not only will civilization cease to exist as we know it, but also all life. So, that would speak to something very catastrophic. And the only thing that comes to mind is something of a natural occurrence, which, you know, I'm unprivy to or haven't heard anything about or seen anything about. And then there's a nuclear fallout. And these are the scenarios that would, in my mind, totally wipe out civilization as we know it. And so if you're bracing yourself for this, if you're preparing yourself for this, if you're building a structure in preparation for this, then maybe you do know something that we all don't know. And that seems to be the norm with the elite, those that are of the very 1% that control the enormous amount of wealth that flows around this planet. And so it wouldn't be outside of the norm for them to have information that the rest of us just don't have. You see, financial status has been a mediator as it relates to dictating whether you can know or whether you cannot know. And you see that time and time again. So I just wanted to bring this story to you guys briefly, just to give you guys an inclination of where we're headed, not just where we're headed as a society, but where some of the most elite members of our society, where their brains are at, what they're thinking about, what they're strategizing, preparing, and doing with their finances, their preparations for the future. All this is relevant to you and I moving forward. In other geopolitical news, CBS New York reports dismembered body found in Bronx apartment, man being questioned by police. So now there's a Harlem man being charged in connection with the dismembered body being found in the Bronx. This dismembered body parts in a freezer. And so this story obviously is disturbing to know that you can have a next door neighbor or live next to somebody that actually has done such a thing, not only killed someone, but has actually dismembered their body and not disposed of their body, but has actually still been living with their body in the residence. And this should raise some serious alarm to the mental state and the mental capacity of an individual who would do such a thing. And so when I seen this story, it was very disturbing, obviously. Police found a dismembered body in a Bronx apartment Tuesday. Officers made that discovery while doing a wellness check at a building on Summit Avenue in Highbridge. And so this is in the uptown section of the Bronx. Some of you may be privy, may know the section. Some of you may not. But nonetheless, For those of you that are New York City residents, for those of you that live in the state of New York, this is a very alarming story. For those of you that actually live in the Bronx and actually live in this area or in the surrounding area, I can only imagine that it is very disturbing, very alarming, and maybe a little even frightening. And so, as I said before, a dismembered body has been found in a Bronx apartment, and a Harlem man has been charged in connection with that dismembered body, and that dismembered body was found in the freezer. In other geopolitical news, I'm on an X platform, and the other day I pointed out something that was also disturbing to me, and it was a woman or video of a woman that had been gang raped in India. And I don't know how or why this woman was detained by the police, but while she was in police custody, she was also then again gang raped. And so this all happened in India, and then it happened in the Indian police department. And so, as you can see from this caption of this post, another woman groped in India while her husband watches. Now, obviously, I have a serious issue with her husband not taking action, but that's another topic. I'm just confused as to what I'm seeing. Now, don't get me wrong. I know very well that crime exists. I know all sorts of crime exists, and I know that they exist everywhere on this planet. But as I come on to social media, I start to realize, or it starts to form a question in my mind as to why I'm seeing so much of it. And as I said, crime exists everywhere. I'm pretty sure that India, the country, the nation, has its share of crimes ranging from everything from murder to kidnapping, rape, robbery, you name it. And so I'm not saying that this situation is surprising to me. What I am saying is that it seems to be a trend. And it seems to be a trend that is populating on social media. Once again, on the X platform, here's another video of Indian police officer kicks Muslim during their prayers. And obviously, you can see that this causes a serious uproar, a serious issue. Look at what this officer is doing. This officer or this individual who doesn't even deserve the right to wear a uniform, who doesn't even deserve the right to have an authoritative position or be an authoritative figure. Obviously, they're abusing their authority, they're abusing their power. But nonetheless, as you see him walk up and kick that man in his rear, kick the other man, and then smack the other man. And this is how police regimes act around the world. It's people like this that we are being governed by, that we allow to police us, that we allow to say what to do, that we allow to be the ones that we seek help from when we're in danger. But look at the actions of such individuals. You know, in many cases, from what I see, and even with the people, look at the people, how they're gathering around and they've taken offense to the situation. In many situations, what I see is that the people are just better off governing themselves. they're better off policing themselves. Because here's this individual who's wearing a uniform and came and violated not only these individuals, but the sanctity of their prayer, their worship. So, as I said, seeing videos like this and seeing images like this coming from India, as I said, I'm not surprised because crime and destruction and death and all of these things happen all over the planet. But I am surprised at the overwhelming amount that I am starting to see on social media. If you haven't done so already, follow Street Icon on all social media platforms. That's at Street Icon 8080 on the YouTube platform, at Street Icon 1 on the X platform, and Street Icon on all other social media platforms. Drop a comment in the comment section and let me know how you feel about the stories that I brought to you today. Did you know about them? How specifically do they make you feel? Drop a comment in the comment section and always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace.